If you would do a list of priorities, should we begin with fighting the bureaucracy, do privatizations, or eliminate some taxes? Is there any list, or should we go with everything at the same time?
I think you have to prioritize, and I would prioritize privatization and cutting regulation, cutting subsidies. So I would prioritize.
We are good at that.
I would
giving subsidies.
Yes, I know you're good at it. That's the cronyism. That's the corruption. That's all the bad stuff that leads to all the negative outcomes. The thing you have to work on is to separate government from business. All the corruption comes from government involvement in business. And now I'm a businessman, I'm trying to protect myself from the government. Well, a bribe here, or a bribe there, or just schmoozing, or just being nice to them. There's all kinds of forms of corruption. Gets me favorable regulation versus bad regulation, gets me favorable deals. You've got to sever that. I would, if you had to do one thing, I would zero out subsidies. So you would say, within 12 months, there are going to be no subsidies in the Brazilian economy. It's not to farmers, not to business owners, not to big business, not to little business, not to medium-sized business. Zero. And then at the same time, we are going to reduce regulations by 25% a year for the next 4 years of the presidency. 25% a year. And at the same time, we're going to privatize. But not privatize like some countries do, where you privatize and regulate. And then you haven't done anything. So you've given the people a sense of private ownership, but the government still controls everything. All the important decisions are still the government's. Privatize means privatize. It means the private sector gets to make all the decisions. So you got to really privatize. And if you do those three things, then you get rid of bureaucracy, because all those regulators don't have a job anymore. You get rid of them and you start shrinking government. Then you tackle taxes, and you tackle, maybe the welfare states and other things. Of course, the other side of this, which I think is really, really important, particularly in Brazil, because you have a problem with this, is the rule of law. Nothing matters if you don't have the rule of law. So there has to be a credible way to convey to the people that you have an independent judiciary, that is truly independent of politics, and that it's
power institutions,
that it's uncorruptible. So some judges have to be fired, some judges have to be replaced, and maybe raise their salaries, maybe make it more lucrative to be a judge so that they're less tempted by bribery. But you have to establish the rule of law and then get the government out of the way as quickly as possible. And yes, it'll be painful. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But, now's the time in the first year of administration is the time to do the painful thing. Because as you get closer to re-election, the politicians become more and more sensitive to the voters.
The political capital is
But you get the pain done in the first 2 years, then you'll benefit from the upswing once the election comes around. If you wait, no change will happen.